Hello, we are going to talk about some serious stuff, obviously, because we're going to talk about the bruises that we're particularly talking. We're not talking about the whole forensic report, etc. It's very difficult to talk about because, of course, we haven't got the autopsy report. This is where I feel like I should take my I can work out how to take it off, because when I'm talking about sort of serious things, I feel like I shouldn't be wearing it because it's disrespectful, isn't it? Oh my God, it's hot as well. My God, so hot. You know, you can only really wear masks. No wonder you like them, Chumber, in Scotland. You can only wear them in cold countries. You can't wear them in hot countries. My God, you're struggling to wear a mask. Right, let me sort my hair out. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the bruises. In particular, I'm just concentrating on the bruises. As I say, it's very frustrating with the Nicola Bulley case as far as the autopsy report is concerned, because autopsy reports are not public. So all we've got to go on is either what the press released as to what was said at the autopsy about the bruises, because we're just concentrating on the bruises, or we've got to talk about or just eyewitness accounts, people who are actually there at the inquest, and what they said, that the coroner said about the bruises. So we've got no official autopsy report which tells us exactly what the bruises were. We've got no official forensic report that tells us what the bruises were. Now, those of you that saw the Elisa Lam video, you'll see that her autopsy is public, because in America, autopsy reports are made public. The difference in the UK is they're not, and the only person that can ask for them is a member of the family. So unless you're a member of the family, or you've got some sort of connection, some reason for asking for a coroner's inquest sort of summary, you can't do it. So we can't get the absolute exact report. So all we can go by is what people either said, the notes that they took, people who were actually at the inquest, or what the newspapers reported, or anyone reported. So all of that is subjective, isn't it, really? So, and that's what I found when I started looking into this. And I want to thank Irish Eyes made the video about she mentioned about the bruises, etc., and the what people had said in different videos. Of course, I've dropped my notes on the floor now. They'll probably all be cocked up now, but no, they're not, because I do it in one of these notebooks, so you can't lose your order. So that's the first thing we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about the bruises. Then we're going to be talking about a sneaky little report that came out from the Lancashire police that I didn't even notice. And I want to thank Mickey. A lot of you'll know about Mickey, who writes a blog with various sort of things. She's anyway, I'm going to read about it later. She wrote a very interesting article about the Fitbit, about the autopsy, etc. So she's quite analytical. So I'm going to read. She has sort of released this report that it's an open report, it's a public report, but the thing is, just slipped by everybody. Nobody noticed that. I certainly didn't know that it had come out. So we're going to be looking at that as well. But the first thing I want to do is talk about the bruises. Now, the thing to remember about the bruises is everybody has got a different story about it. So I looked at, that there was a couple of people that I knew at the inquest. And so I looked at what they said, in particular, as I say, about the bruises. So what I've noticed is, and I'm sure you realise, that when people are listening to something like in the inquest, people notice different things, and people take down their notes, and some people notice one thing, like that with the petechiae that my source noticed about the little blood vessels in the eye. Nobody else had mentioned that, but I know for sure that they did notice that, because you know, they queried the spelling of it. You know, they wrote it as clear as anything in their notes. So it's just that different people hear different things. Also, the actual sound at the inquest was really bad. Everybody said that. So depending on where you were sitting would be how difficult or easy you would find, you know, how difficult or easy you would find, or important you would find the things that they were saying, and how difficult or easy you would find listening to it and hearing it. So if the sound was bad, you almost think maybe it was on purpose. So a lot of people couldn't stand there, because they held the inquest in the end in that massive place, but there was actually very few people there that came in the end. So, you know, all that they were expecting, it didn't happen. So I want to just first of all say what my source said about the bruising, and literally only wrote a very short piece about the bruising, and what they wrote was bruising to all 4 limbs, front and back. So that's what they said, bruising to all 4 limbs, front and back, and then bruising to chest. So that's what they wrote down. As far as, so remember, we're only concentrating on the bruising, so I'm not going into other things, only the bruising. Whereas Sky News said there was some bruising to Miss Bulley's body, but these did not contribute to her death, the inquest was told. There was some bruising to Miss Bulley's body, but these did not contribute to her death, the inquest was told. So that's what they said. So we've got 2 different versions straight away. So we've got one, a first-hand version from someone who was at the inquest. The second one, I don't know if that came from their reporter that was at the inquest, or whether it was reported to them by somebody else, you know, etc. Now, then the Liverpool Echo said there were several bruises on her body, including both the front and back of the right arm. So that's different again, isn't it? So we've got 3 different accounts now. We've got the Liverpool Echo saying there were several bruises on her body, including both the front and back of right arm. So far we've got 3 different accounts. Then the Independent newspaper, slightly different again. They reported that Alison Armour said she was caked in mud. So they don't all say that either, but she said that she was caked in mud. Bruises discovered on the lower limbs, including the front of the shin and the right knee. No sign. Oh, and something else that just struck me as I was researching this, and so looking at the Independent's report, the Independent says no signs of asphyxiation or hemorrhaging were discovered. Well, we know for a fact the cause of death was supposedly given as asphyxiation, and it says no signs of asphyxiation or hemorrhaging, but we know that there were these pinpoint blood vessels burst in the eye. So, you know, you just think, my God, nothing. This is the problem when they don't release the official autopsy report, isn't it? Because if they don't release the official autopsy report, you've just got this, what one person heard, what another person noted down, what that reporter said. You haven't got an official, conclusive inquest report like you have in America, like on the Elisa Lam. You know, one thing you have at least got is exactly what the autopsy report was. Then in the Manchester Evening News, it said no signs of assault or third-party involvement. but did note several bruises on Nicola's arms and legs, consistent with a fall. Now, that's the first time that that's been said in any of these reports. Did note several bruises on Nicola's arms and legs, consistent with a fall. Did she say that? I mean, some of you who are probably in this chat tonight or watch this later, you were there at the inquest. What did you have in your notes? Did she say that? Several bruises on Nicola's arms and legs consistent with a fall. Nobody else. So where am I up to now? I'm up to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 6th account of the bruises on Nicola, and this is the first time anyone has said consistent with a fall. So did she actually say that, Alison Armour, or are they putting that in? You know, this is the problem. Then Yahoo News, when I looked into that, there's no mention of bruises whatsoever. Absolutely not mentioned. Just the other, she died of drowning, accidental death, blah, 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 blah. No mention of bruises. So you pay your money, you take your choice, like everything else in this weird situation. Right, I'm just going to go back because I've probably missed people coming in to say hello to people. I don't like missing people to say hello to. I've said hello to Saskia. What you find, Essex Boys Outlaw, in this is everybody chats and doesn't really listen, and then they watch it back later. But no, some people listen, I know. How's the dogs when they saw me? Chumba's going to behave. That'll be the day. That will be the day when Chumba behaves. No, Shelley. Heather. Hi, Heather. I haven't said hello to Heather. I just have to make sure. Yeah, I've took the mask off now because I'm being serious now. I might put it back on again at the end. Oh, I just don't like missing saying hello to everyone. Now, I bought it in the Chinese shop. Hi, Louisa. Hi. Yeah, Irish Eyes, everybody complained about the sound. So this is why I think there's so many conflicting things that people say. And some people say, oh, I think it was this. Or because do you think that, you know, it was difficult. It was a very big place. It was too big, really, and the sound was terrible. So, oh, single figures tonight. It's still warm here, but not as warm as it was. Right, I think I've said hello to... Oh, Catherine. Hi, Catherine. Yes, roofs are believed, but I didn't notice that. I mean, God. Well, do you know, sometimes I can be a dizzy blonde because it was Irish Eyes that had to point out to me that I actually had it the way round when I was trying to do it that way. You know, honest to God, I don't know if it's nerves or what. So Shelley in Canada, they've got frost going down to 5 overnight. Exactly, B. I don't know. I don't think the coroner brought any value to the table. I think the inquest was an absolute joke. And if anything, it just made things worse, because if the inquest would have been more, you know, if we would have felt more confident, maybe we would have started believing some of the things that they were saying, but left us with more questions than answers. That's the problem. Oh, I will have a Christmas outfit. In fact, I'm thinking of having a different outfit because in the Chinese shop they've got so many good things. So look out for it. Yeah, it's a bit of fun, isn't it? So, hi Yvonne. Hi. Thanks very much for the super thanks earlier. Hope you're feeling better. Look, I know men aren't capable, Evie, of even doing two things at once, really. But anyway, no, I'm only joking. Maggie. Hi, Maggie. Multitasking is not a male It's not their best. It's not their best point. But having said that, I think they do the one thing that they're doing well. You know, I'll say that. Yes, a Venetian masked ball. I'd love to go to a Venetian masked ball. Right, there you go. Don't think I've missed anyone. I'll just show you my mask again, just in case anybody's missed it, because I'm being serious now. I'm talking about Nicola. I didn't like to carry on wearing the mask because it's disrespectful. Now, what I want to show you now, let me just, I want to put that down. I have to put some things down because otherwise, don't you dare, don't you dare. Right, we're going to have a look at, now Maria Solars. She was, not Suarez, as somebody was always referring to her. Maria Solars, who has a YouTube channel herself. I haven't seen her for a while. She used to come on the chat. I haven't seen her for a little while. She was at the inquest, and she did a video about the inquest on day one. And we're just going to have a look at the bit that she tells us about the bruises. Now I say we're going to, what we've done with it. Put that down. I've got too many windows open. I end up with all these and then I can't find the window that I want. Put that one down, not going to use that. Going to use that. Ah. Right, sorry. It takes me a little while. Okay, so we're going to look at what she says, particularly about the bruises. Now, you know, obviously go to this video and watch the whole video. This is Maria, who was at the inquest. This was her summary of day one. But we're just going to go to 1 minute 30 when she specifically talks about the bruises. And I can find that. Ah, there it is. Yeah, so we're just really looking at the bruise.
That has stuck with me from listening to her speak was she talked about a lot of bruising on Nicola's body, and they're quite big bruises. There's an L-shaped bruise on her left thigh that is 14.2 centimeters. I've written here up a third, but I don't think that's her leg. I think that's it. Oh, I'm not sure. It's either a leg or a arm. Ignore that bit. And this L-shaped bruise is quite big. I'm not a pathologist, so and no explanation at all was given for this. Was it there before? Was it?
Now she's saying no explanation whatsoever was given for this, but someone in one of those other, in the Manchester Evening News, it said several bruises on Nicola's arms and legs consistent with a fall. But according to Maria, and I know who I believe more would be Maria, there was no explanation, you know, because surely when a pathologist who's done an autopsy, you're in a coroner's court and they say there were bruises practically all over the body from what I can gather, wouldn't the first question be, how do you think those bruises came about? Now, it may be that he did ask that, but we don't know because we haven't got a transcript. So you can't just say, I mean, talk about making people, it's almost as if they're deliberately trying to make people wonder about it, because obviously you're going to wonder about it when somebody says somebody was covered in bruises. And don't forget, my source said there was a bruise on her chest as well. So, you know, though nobody else said that. So what am I to think that she's very good. I would, again, put my money on her any day to write down exactly what she heard. But nobody else mentioned a bruise on the chest. So the thing is, we're left floundering with all different reports of these bruises without knowing exactly what was said because we haven't got a transcript.
Post-mortem, as it appeared post-mortem, as she sustained an injury at the time of death. I haven't a clue. So I thought that was odd. The fact that she just didn't explain that. She just said that they were there and that was it. And she went on to mention a lot of other things. No, this makes sense now. So upper third, yeah, that is on a left thigh, I think. And then on her right arm, there's another bruise, 14 by 14 centimetres, which is another quite big bruise.
So yeah, 14 by 14 centimetres is a big bruise. I'm going to show you 14 centimetres in a moment.
It's at the back and the front of her upper arm, the middle third. That's what I've written. Yeah, there was just that. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Now, the back and front of her middle arm, what would that be when someone grabs you by the arm?
I just have no idea. I just thought that was odd. Next bit that I wanted to talk about was the toxicology.
Right.
And then on her right arm, there's another.
In this particular video, I'm only looking at the bruises, so I'm not. But you can go on to Maria Salas's YouTube and find this video if you want to watch the whole thing if you haven't seen it already. Now, so I just want to listen to that one more time. What she specifically says about the bruises.
Around it all, really. So the key point with the pathologist, the thing that has stuck with me from listening to her speak was she talked about a lot of bruising on Nicola's body, and they're quite big bruises. There's an L-shaped bruise on her left thigh that is 14.2 centimetres. I've written here upper third, but I don't think that's her leg. I think that's it. Oh, I'm not sure. It's either a leg or a arm. Ignore that bit. And this L-shaped bruise is quite big. I'm not a pathologist, so and no explanation at all was given for this. Was it there before? Was it post-mortem? Has it appeared post-mortem as she sustained an injury at the time of death? I haven't a clue. So I thought that was odd. The fact that she just didn't explain that. She just said that they were there and that was it. And she went on to mention a lot of other things. No, this makes sense now. So upper third, yeah, that is on a left thigh, I think. And then on her right arm, there's another bruise, 14 by 14 centimetres, which is another quite big bruise. It's at the back and the front of her upper arm, the middle third. That's what I've written. Yeah, there was just that. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, now the thing is, how do you get a bruise on the back and the front of your arm if it's from a fall? You know, if you fall, you hit your arm, but you don't hit the back and the front of your arm. You either hit the back or the front, surely. So yeah, very, confusing, just like everything. Now, so what I'm going to show you now is 14 now. I'm laughing because this is real 14 inches, not what a man thinks is 14 inches, as far as fish, how men always say, oh, it was that big. This is a real 14 inch. And I just want to show you so you can see how big it is. It's oh God, it's taken me on to X or Twitter as it used to be called. Yeah, 14 centimetres, that's big, isn't it? That's quite long. So you're looking at going from sort of someone's palm to the tip of their index finger. And one of those bruises that Maria described was 14 inches, 14 centimetres times 14 centimetres. So quite a big bruise. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that. Now I've probably got that. Let's see. Yeah, I think that just shows how, that's quite a large bruise, isn't it? Let me just go there. So now the next thing I want to talk about is I want to go on to, there's this I looked at is how bruises should be interpreted. Now, just let me make sure I'm not. There you go. At least I did check. Let's see. This is Detective's Notebook, Bruise Interpretation Tips for Abuse Investigations. Because the thing is, we do get bruises. Everybody gets bruises. And as you get older, you get more bruises. And Nicola was 45. So she's not old, but she wasn't young either, not in her 20s. And when you're, you don't tend to get bruises the same when you're young, and the older you get, but Nicola wasn't really that old to get bruising for nothing, I don't think. Anyway, so I found this article really interesting because it was saying that for police officers and detectives, they frequently have to investigate abuse cases. And then because victims, they're reluctant to share information with you. So you've got to make, police have got to make assessments, haven't they, of what, they quite often get it wrong, but I'm sure they quite often get it right. So, so this guy is saying that a valuable resource is a basic understanding of injuries and how they occur and the different variables to consider. So, and he goes on to talk about bruises in particular. So one of the most commonly seen injuries is bruising. This also happens to be one of the most common injuries that victims try to dismiss or explain away, perhaps out of fear, reluctance, or even to protect their abuser. So it involves bruises involves the escape or hemorrhage of blood from ruptured blood vessels in the surrounding tissue. The resulting discoloration can usually be seen beneath the surface of the skin, but bruising is an injury that has many variables for investigators to consider. So, locations, it goes on to talk about locations. So it says that large surface areas such as the back or buttocks may reveal more clues than those on a bony, narrow structure such as a shin. Well, Nicola had a bruise on her shin, according to some of the reports there. That may have been from a fall. I think if you fall, your shin is a more likely place that you're going to have a bruise, isn't it? Interesting. And then he goes on to say some bruises are in deep muscle tissue, not visible to the police. But basically, I wanted to talk about, the differences between accidental and abuse bruises. So everyone is capable of bumping into something or falling down and bruising themselves. And these accidental injuries tend to follow a specific pattern. Hands, knees, elbows, or the bony protrusions of the face, like eyebrow ridges or cheekbones. Oh God, well that's like when I fell and banged my eye and got a great big massive black eye because I'd actually fallen and banged my eye. I had actually fallen. But in abuse cases, police officers will typically see bruising to the face, mouth, lips, neck. Well, there's a photo there on the members' site of Nicola with a massive bruise on her neck. Back, ribs, thighs, buttocks, and genitals. In other areas, bruising may be observed, but those listed are commonly found in intentional injuries cases. Abusive bruising may be the result of a victim being punched, kicked, choked, squeezed, or held down. Or they may have been struck with a firm or flexible object, ranging from a stick or bat to a belt or electrical cord. So by carefully scrutinizing a victim's bruises, investigators may take away some valuable information. Things to look for: finger pad bruises, which now I've seen them on someone that I know that was suffering domestic. When somebody grabs you on your arm and tries to pull you, you do get bruises. So, and these finger pad bruises are due to gripping, squeezing, poking, or forceful restraints. Then the shoe impressions. A bruise may form reflecting. Now, she didn't have any footprints, if you like, or boot prints bruises. She didn't. Though it does say it may leave, shoe impressions may leave a curved imprint bruise. See, I think that bruise that's 14 centimetres times 14 centimetres, that's almost a square bruise, isn't it? Anyway, wraparound bruises. So bruises from an accidental injury tend not to form a wrapped appearance. So, you know, they said she had bruises on the front and back of, you know, on the front and back of her arms. And that's what I'm saying. How do you get them on the front and back of your arm? If you fall over, you get it on the front or you get it on the back. How do you get it on both? So he's saying, look for thumb pads on one side and finger pads on the other. Now, remember the L-shaped bruise. Bruising has many variables, but they tend not to follow a linear pattern naturally. Consider a striking implement as a cause for linear bruising. May be seen on back, buttock, thighs, or arms. Yeah. And defensive bruising is typically seen on extremities, where you know defensive is when people put their arms up like that, isn't it? Forearms, upper arms, hands, and even the feet and legs. So there you go. So that's what this guy is recommending to people, to police, to look out for. It's hard to tell the difference between a deliberate, you know, a bruise that's a result of DV, domestic violence, or a bruise that's a result of accident. And it wasn't explained. I mean, there may have been, you know, I'm not saying that the bruises on Nicola were as a result of anything like this. What I'm saying is it's not clear. You know, this is the whole point. So many bruises. Yeah, so many bruises. Hi, Fortean. So that's what I wanted to say about the bruises. I think I've got to the end of the bruises there, yeah. So it's all food for thought. I know probably most of you will look back over this and look, you know, the bruises, if the coroner wants us to accept that it was an accidental death, the bruises should have been explained. It's just common sense that you explain the bruises. Don't just say, oh yeah, well, she had bruises here, there and everywhere, but no, they didn't have anything to do with her death. Well, what were they from then? Because if they didn't have anything to do with her death, they must have already been there from before. So, you know, so what were they there from before for? You know, because even if nobody, you know, if there was no foul play in Nicola's death, then why did, you know, why were those bruises there? And that brings me to the next thing. So probably a lot of you don't know, or if you follow Mickey, you will know, is what came out on when, let's see, what date was it that it came out? It snuck out. This report snuck out. Well, let me I'm going to show you Mickey's post, and then we'll read the report from the police. I knew nothing about this, and I take a big, you know, just think if I take a big interest in this case and didn't see it, never saw it, who did see it? Well, Mickey saw it. Well, good for her. So this is what she says. A couple of weeks ago, I woke up one morning and just felt impossibly hopeless about Nikki's case. And then she talks about another creator, which I won't go into it, but let's see. This case is not about individuals, and that is true. I mean, at the end of the day, I think any creator, this is why I don't get involved in, well, you've all seen probably what's happened, you know, to one creator where they've been, and I mentioned it in a video earlier, You know, someone who's been terminated on YouTube. I don't want to be terminated on YouTube. I don't want to, you know, get into wars with other creators and nastiness and stuff like that. So I don't see the point of it. And with this particular case, the thing is, isn't everybody just trying to establish what really happened? You know, so why I don't understand the attacks. But anyway, that's it. That's why I don't get involved in any of it, because I don't want to be seen favouring I don't favour anybody of it. I take any information that anybody wants to give, and then I make my decision about what I think about it. So this is not about individuals, information, how right they are or how close to the truth they are. No, it's not. Anyway, I don't want to go into that. So I don't. She very kindly gives me and Irish Eyes a mention. Thank you for that. But what I want to go to is, and I understand why she took some time. You do get to a point sometimes, I feel like it quite often, where I think, why am I even, you know, bringing up these things? Because if the family has accepted that this was accidental death, the police aren't interested, no one's interested, why am I doing this? Because I'll tell you what, all you get when you do Nicola Bulley videos, you get trolled. That's the only time I get trolled. When I do a Nicola Bulley video, you can bet 100% I'm going to get trolled. And sometimes I just think, well, what's the point? You know, why am I doing it? Like someone said in a comment, oh, what do you think Nicola's parents would think about this? Do you think they would approve? And I just thought, well, I don't know, but all I know, if that was my daughter, I'd want to know where those bruises had come from. I'd want to know what had happened to her, if anything had happened to her. You know, I'm not trying to disrespect Nicola's parents. You know, for whatever reason, they probably, you know, it must all be heartbreaking for them and everything. But I honestly just do not understand why they don't want to know who the man in black was, what the screams were, where the bruises came from. I just don't understand it. And it may come to a point one day where I think, right, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore, because it's not very nice when people sort of say things to you like that, you know, practically accusing you that you're trying to make money out of. So, you know, to be honest, I'd be quite happy to not ever do another Nicola Bulley video, because it's depressing. Because it's depressing thinking that you're never going to get to the bottom of it. That, you know, and that the people who should care the most, I don't know if they do appreciate, you know, I just don't know. So to be honest, sometimes I do, and it's because of people like yourself. So then I get other people who say, thank you for carrying on. Thank you for this. Thank you. You know, please carry on looking at these things. And then that makes me feel better about it again. You know, but I literally go from day to day wavering about what's the point in even doing another video or not. That's why I've made a lot of them members only ones now as well, so they don't get trolled from everybody. And when I will put this out to the public, but I like to put it out after I've done it live, so that if there's anything that I think, oh, you know, or that might upset someone or whatever, I can take it out. Anyway, so this particular thing, this report that Mickey's picked up on, now, of course, the investigation from the College of Policing is supposed to be released in November, which that sort of surprised me, because they said in the autumn. Why has it taken so long? So they announced that they were going to do it in February. So when they said the autumn, I was sort of half hoping it might be September or at the latest October. Now it might be, some say it'll be released in November. Anyway, so the IOPC released a little update on Nicola's case, and they posted it on a lesser read section of their website called Learning. Remember, there's always a few, that's what they'll say about in this case. It'll be lessons to be learned, no further action. You know, you could write it, I could write it now. But anyway, Mickey says that she found out about it because she'd been corresponding with the IOPC about whether they were going to update the findings of their investigation after the inquest that they promised to do back in April. They then emailed her on September the 11th, of all days, to let her know there was an update. So this is the update. Now, first of all, no name mentioned. So Nicola's name is not mentioned whatsoever. Concerns for woman's welfare and police contact prior to her death. Lancashire Police, January 2023. On the 10th of January, a Lancashire Constabulary police officer attended the home address of a woman in response to a welfare concern that had been reported to North West Ambulance Service, NWAS. Now, so this was Louise, wasn't it, who phoned the ambulance for Nikki because she was concerned about her welfare, which, you know, I'm not really quite sure why. But anyway, there you go. The officer was part of a multi-agency team which included a paramedic and 2 mental health practitioners. Now, I can feel myself getting upset here, because if Nicola was she so bad that she needed all that, and then it didn't save her because she died. You know, this was the 10th of January. Within a couple of weeks, she was dead. So it didn't save her, it didn't help her. Anyway, on 27th of January 2023, the woman was reported missing and subsequently found dead on the 19th of February. So there's still no names, it's the woman. She's a statistic now. Now you tell me if that was your daughter, that you would accept that. I honestly, I find it really upsetting. Why am I finding it upsetting? I think there's Nicola's a bit like every woman, isn't she? You know, you think, you know, when you see her photos and stuff, I don't know. Anyway, we started an independent investigation focusing on the contract the force had with the woman on the 10th of January 2023, following a referral from the Lancashire Constabulary. I am going to write to them about this. I am fumed about this, because the other thing is, they don't mention that the very next night after this welfare check, Nicola was at the A&E having a head injury examined on her head. And also, they don't mention that during that response to the welfare concern, they'd forgotten to put their cam, the police cam, they'd forgotten to put it on. So there is no police cam of that day. Now, if you believe that, you believe anything, because there's no way they didn't have cam. They are so, it's foul. Our investigation focused on the actions and decisions of the police officer who attended the woman's address on the 10th of January, and whether these were in accordance with policy guidance and training. We interviewed the officer, who engaged fully with our investigation and provided a full account of their decisions and actions. Our investigation concluded in April 2023. We waited for all external proceedings to be finalised before publishing our findings. Well, not really, because you didn't wait for the inquest. We concluded there was no indication any police officer had behaved in a manner that would justify the bringing of disciplinary proceedings or had committed a criminal offence. However, we identified, and you know, I find it so hard not to get angry. We identified 2 areas of individual learning for the officer, which relate to recording information on police systems and activation of body-worn video. We shared our findings with Lancashire Constabulary, Mr. Snowman, who agreed with our findings. In our opinion, the most appropriate outcome to action the identified learning is through the reflective practice process. An officer reflecting on their actions is a formal process reflected in legislation. The reflective practice review process consists of a fact-finding stage and a discussion stage, followed by the production of a reflective review development report. The discussion must include, in particular, a discussion of the practice requiring improvement and related circumstances that have been identified. Meanwhile, a woman's dead. The identification of key lessons to be learnt by the participating officer, line management or police force concerned to address the matter and prevent a reoccurrence of the matter. An inquest into the woman's death was held in late June 2023. The coroner concluded her death as accidental, a result of falling into cold water. I feel like my phone just beat. Sorry, excuse me. A result of falling into cold water and drowning. We carefully considered whether there were any organisational learning opportunities arising from the investigation. We make learning recommendations to improve policing and public confidence in the police complaint system and prevent a recurrence of similar incidents. In this case, we identified organisational learning for Lancashire Constabulary in respect of updating its guidance documents for multi-agency, blah, 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 to ensure, it's like white noise, isn't it? To ensure all police officers working in this role understand what is expected of them, as well as the provision of guidance for officers more widely when dealing with similar situations. Lancashire Constabulary confirmed they have reviewed and updated the guidance following our findings. We therefore did not find it necessary to use our legislative powers to issue recommendations under the Police Reform Act, as we were satisfied with their response. Lancashire Constabulary committed to sharing such learning through their organisation Learning Board for implementation. There you go. So there you go. It's no further action, nothing to see here. Move on. This woman's dead. Yes, she had to go to A&E the very next night after we went and visited with a head injury, but we're not even going to mention that. We're not even going to mention a name because we know that everybody knows the name, and then people might actually notice the crap that we're talking. I think it's disgusting. And this report that will be out in the autumn, it won't be any different. Anyway, go over to Mickey's blog, give her a subscribe. I totally understand why it's just very sad, very sad. It's so sad. It's that could be anyone. Anyway, I don't know. What can you say? What can you say? If the family don't want to take it further, what can you say? And why don't the family want to take it further? Maybe they just believe it all, or maybe they were so scared that it might have ended up being a verdict of self-deletion that they were glad with the accidental death verdict. But I tell you what, if that was my daughter, I'd want to know why that ambulance had to be called out that night, what the bruises were all over her, why she had to go to A&E for a head injury the very next night. Why, all those things. I would, maybe they've had an explanation. Maybe there are things that we don't know. But, learning from errors, they can't bring that night back. If the guy really genuinely did forget to did he forget to? See, I'm still not sure about that. I wouldn't be surprised if he did have his thing on. Seems funny, doesn't it? In the most, well-known case, probably almost in British history, or certainly for a long time, then that one time he didn't have his body cam on. I don't think I believe him. I don't believe him. Yeah, and that second incident going to the A&E was not mentioned at the inquest. Was not mentioned. So if she had a head injury, I don't know. Honestly. Anyway, I wanted to read that out to you. I wanted to see, let you know that report had come out, because that is hidden somewhere on their website. No name mentioned. Nobody will know about that. I didn't know about it. Mickey only knows about it because she was bugging them about things, and they've pointed at, they said, oh, look, they probably wrote that after she contacted him. They probably hadn't written it before then, they probably thought, oh, somebody's actually noticed, we better do something. Anyway. So before I go, oh, hang on. Oh, Irish Eyes, thank you. Didn't see, I miss things because I get talking, I get ranting, and I miss things. Thank you, Irish Eyes, very much for that. You didn't need to do that. You get gifting memberships, and but I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much. I'm a bit of I tend to miss things. Sorry. Yeah. So, well, you'll know Mickey's blog, won't you? So, Irish Eyes, you can go onto a blog. I'm sure you know. Anyway, the report is on there. The report is, and if you can't get it, or you don't know how to get it, just get in touch with me and I'll send it to you. So yeah, let's see. I don't know if I can. That's where it is. You can go onto it there. Yeah, the thing is, I do feel like there's a cover up here, but I just don't understand the why. That's what I don't understand. I think it's, well, I've said many times, and I'll say it one more time. I think the police cocked up from the get-go, and they spent the rest of the time trying to, talk the way out of it, really. They cocked up completely because they've lost any evidence there might have been right at the beginning of any wrongdoing. It's gone. It's gone because they gave the phone back to Paul. It might not be Paul. I'm not saying it's Paul. I don't know. But, there was no forensics, anyway. So I'm not going to repeat all that again. So what I want to just finish off, is still to do with Nicola. It's a little bit lighter now. I think a lot of people don't know that Nicola was married before. So before she say married before, she wasn't married to Paul, of course. Paul's her partner. But they never actually got married, did they, as he talked about in that interview that he did. Now, she was married before, and she was married to, I can't remember his name, actually. Can anyone remember his name? I can't remember his name. But his new wife, this is his new wife. This is who he married after he was married to Nicola, is Jody Prenger, who is an actress in Coronation Street. And I don't think everybody knows that. But I think that is true. I don't think that's a lie or a rumour or whatever. And Jody Prenger is a Coronation Street star. And apparently she's made a jokey remark because, of course, we lost Paul O'Grady, which was a very sad loss, I think, to the world. So when you lose these lovely people, it is a shame, isn't it? Anyway, she's made a sort of jokey comment that she'd quite like his job, I think, doing the Battersea Dogs Home thing, because she spent some time away from the cobbles with some adorable friends. She's a huge animal lover. So she said she had 3 rescue cows, 3 rescue ducks, 3 cats and 3 dogs. Also about 17 rescued chickens, including my cockerel, Harry. So earlier this year, she added another dog to her family and used the opportunity to pay her own tribute to the late Paul O'Grady, who sadly died around the same time. That was so sad. Anyway, she told her online followers in March that she'd adopted a rescue dog, and that after a call to the rescue centre, she decided to rename the dog in honour of the entertainer. Yeah, so she called him Paul. Let's see if there's a photo of him. There he is. Oh, look. So there you go, just to cheer you up to finish off. That is her new dog, Paul. So this is Jody Prenger, who's a Coronation Street actress, and she's married to Nicola, Bulley's ex-husband. And this is her new little dog, who she's named Paul, in memory of Paul O'Grady. So that's lovely, isn't it? Okay, he's beautiful. I want a puppy now. Well, I don't really. I do. I wouldn't mind looking after one for a day, but I don't really want any more. I've already got 3 dogs. So yeah, there you go. That cheers us up. Dogs always cheer us up, don't we? Oh, it looks like it's going to be a big dog. That. Look at its paws. It's going to be a big one. It's not a little one. Does it say what they are? Oh, is that the actual dog, or is that just one she went to see? Ah. Oh, I don't know if that's the actual dog. She said, alongside her new 4-legged friend. Where's a picture of the dog? Well, so I don't know if that's the actual dog or that's just a puppy. Or if that's just a puppy. Jody was in her element. So I don't know if that's just a puppy from the Battersea Dogs Home, or if that's the actual one. Oh, so thanks for making it clear. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's still a nice picture of a dog. That's all that matters. A big dog. That's going to be a big dog. Yeah. Oh, I know. I love Paul O'Grady. I miss him. You know, I say I miss him, obviously, but I miss that programme. I love that programme. That makes me cry every time when I watch it. All my dogs are rescue dogs. It's nice to have rescue dogs. Oh, it's nice to have any dog. Okay, so thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being members. Special thanks to Irish Eyes for the super chat or super thanks, and for gifting the memberships. So I honestly had not realised that. So I feel bad because I was accusing Essex Boys Outlaw of just joking that he hadn't actually joined. I did wonder why I suddenly got a load of members all at once, because I do get sort of gradual additions, but don't normally get like 5 all at once. So I'll just put this on to say goodnight. And listen, thank you so much. Honestly, I really appreciate everyone who contributes to my channel in any way, but especially my members. And I will see you. Oh, tomorrow night, I'm doing the Friday Night Live tomorrow night. I think you'll find it very interesting. It's not the Nicola Bulley. It's something completely different that I'm going to be doing tomorrow night. But I think you'll find it interesting. Oh, night. So remember to always live and love very carefully. You should all get a mask for next week, so that and send me photos of you in your mask that you're going to wear. So you all need to get a little mask. Send me a photo to my email, and then next week we'll have a mask one. Anyway, remember to always live and love carefully, wisely. Look after each other, but look after yourself, because you are the most important person. Because you can't look after other people unless you look after yourself, can you? Until I see you again, may your God go with you. Thank you.